Now, battle royales are hard in nature. There are so many teams pitted against you that the odds are truly never in your favor, and you're gonna die a lot. Now, while dying a lot is inevitable and there's no real way of escaping it, that doesn't mean that you can't improve your chances with certain tips and tricks that I'm going to talk to you about today. So sit back, relax, grab a drink while we discuss 5 reasons why you keep on dying in Apex Legends. Alright guys, let's get into it. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about today is something that a lot of people actually do not talk about, and that is your ammo economy with your team. Now, for an example, I'm going to talk about the Havoc. A lot of people like the Havoc. That gun shreds. It destroys people's armor, it destroys people's health, and you can down people almost immediately if you hit all your shots, and if you hit headshots. So usually there's going to be a few people on my team that want to grab one, and that's fine. A lot of Havoc on the team can be good, but you also have to remember that there's not a lot of ammo for that weapon, or for some weapons in general. This means that you want to communicate with your team to make sure you're not all using the same kind of ammo. The last thing you want to happen during a gunfight is to run out of ammo, because it's honestly the worst. And sometimes all you have is a shotgun and there's people like 30 feet in front of you and you can't really do much about it. So you obviously want to make sure that you're all using different ammo, or at least not all of you using the same ammo. And you want to kind of build an economy around that. You know, if you know that one of your teammates has heavy, for example, call that out for him while you're picking up light, and maybe another teammate is picking up energy ammo or something. So in conclusion, you don't all have to use separate ammo. Just make sure you're not all using the same one. That way you guys have enough ammo for the next gunfight. Now, the next problem we're going to talk about is something that is in every single battle royale, and it's one of the hardest habits to break, and that is overlooting. Now, looting while you're safe and away from enemy teams is fine, and if you want to play like that, that's perfectly fine. That's an acceptable way to play, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the looting I'm talking about is those people who loot mid-fight. You don't know how many times it's happened to me where I down somebody during a gunfight and I kill him, and then I run to his teammates to make sure that I kill them too. And when I look around for my teammates, I look back at them and I see them looting the body of the person we just killed. So instead of helping the team fight and trying to kill the rest of the people alive, they're at the box of the dead person and they're trying to loot for themselves before everyone else gets to loot to make sure they get the better things. Now, this is extremely selfish, and this is a really bad habit that you have to break. It is acceptable at times. Like, for example, say if you need ammo or if you need some kind of healing, then okay, then this is perfectly acceptable if you need something. But if you're just doing it to make sure that your team does not get the good stuff and make sure you get everything for yourself, then that is a big reason why you're dying, and this has to stop. It's kind of hard to blame somebody, because whenever anybody starts playing a battle royale, everybody at some point starts off like this, where you're just loot hungry. But thinking about loot can actually hurt you if you don't grow out of it, especially if you want to grow as a player. Unless you're in dire need of something, you do not need to loot anybody, and the first thing you want to do is make sure that the enemy team is dead before you guys go for anything. Not only does this prevent that player from helping in the gunfight, if the enemy team is shooting at your team members and they see you standing still, who do you think they're going to shoot? You're going to be an easy down for them, and that's not going to help your team whatsoever. So try to get out of that loot hungry mindset and try to grow out of that as fast as possible, and you'll just see how many more fights you're going to end up winning. Okay guys, so now we're going to move on to early game. And the problem that I'm going to talk to you about is not immediately fighting after finding a gun after you drop. So whenever you land at a location, everybody's in a scurry, everybody's trying to find a weapon, trying to find armor. But the first thing you want to do is find a gun. That is your main priority. And then second is an armor. Once you have those things, you want to make sure that you run to the closest person that you know landed next to you and just go for the kill. Now, you don't even need an armor. If you find something like a Peacekeeper or any gun that you feel comfortable with, you should just go for the kill. You do not want to take the 50-50 chance that they might find better loot than you, and that will hurt you in the long run. Whenever people land, people tend to search like 3 or 4 houses before they get into any gunfight. And most people feel safe while they're looting because a lot of players rush people down right at the beginning of a game. This means that you might catch somebody off guard. You might even catch somebody like deciding what gun they want to take, and they're just going to be standing there and you're going to get a free down. So this is obviously something you want to take advantage of. But you also want to make sure that your team is in on you with this, because if you don't rush a team at the beginning of a game, there's a chance that they might all find purple armors, right? I know it's an exaggerated example, but it can happen. Sometimes 2 of them find blue armor, 1 of them finds purple armor, and maybe you have a white armor and the rest of your team does not have an armor at all. Like, you do not want to take that risk. So you want to catch people off guard, and you want to catch them before they find anything significant that could hurt you or your team. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the noob killer, and even a lot of veterans do this, to be honest. And it's hard to blame people on this because it has good intentions behind it, and it seems like a good thing, which it is in their eyes, but this can actually hurt your team, and this is reviving people mid-gunfight. Now, if you down somebody on the enemy team and you know that the teammate isn't close, then maybe you can revive your teammate. That's not going to be a problem. But I'm sure you can think of a few times recently where you died because you were trying to revive a teammate and somebody just came up behind you and just shot you for free while you were stuck in that animation. And trust me, I know what it's like to have teammates that just cry for revives whenever they go down and they think that the enemy isn't close. But honestly, you don't want to risk it. And what you and the rest of your team, whoever's up, whoever isn't down, want to do is make sure that you kill the enemy team before you go for any revives. Being in a revive animation is extremely vulnerable, and this might not be the best thing to do because the second that your teammate gets up, he's going to be at low health, so he's going to be able to go down immediately. And if you're at full health, you don't want to be put in that situation where you can't fire back at the enemy. So you want to make sure that if you do decide to go for a revive mid-fight, that the enemy team is far away from you or they can't reach you. And also, you gotta talk to your teammates and let them know that sometimes the revive isn't the best thing to do. Even if they think that you're in the clear and that there's no enemy next to you or close to you, it's not worth the risk of just completely getting squad wiped because you can't do anything because you're reviving somebody. So you have to let them know this, and it's kind of, you'll get more into it the more you play the game. You know, this is kind of game IQ. The more you play a certain game, the more you'll learn what's the best things to do and what the best things not to do. So just keep that in mind, and also try doing this and just see how many more gunfights you win. So now we're going to talk about the most likely thing that is killing you in Apex, and that is healing too early during a gunfight. Now, for some reason, gamers kind of get this habit that everything has to be perfect on their screen. So for example, I'm sure that if you shoot a bullet or two, you're going to reload, and it's kind of instinct, and it's kind of hard to get out of. I still do this sometimes. Sometimes I'll shoot a bullet and I'll reload in my Spitfire that holds like 60 shots with the extended mag. And you don't have to. But this can also go for healing. Sometimes you'll lose one shield cell, for example, and you have purple armor. And you think you have to run away and heal that real quick before you re-engage. So I guess the main tip I'm trying to give you, and the main reason why you're dying most likely, is that you think you have to be at full health every time you re-engage into a gunfight. Whenever you're in a gunfight and you get hurt, you don't have to get to full health. Just regenerate enough that you think will be enough to take on the team, and then just go back into the fight. Now let's start off with the first reason that this is really, really bad, and that's running away. Running away is extremely ineffective. It is not a good thing to do in Apex because somebody who rushes will be at a major advantage over somebody who just runs away. Whenever you run, all you're doing is giving the enemy team a chance to shoot you in the back for free while you can do nothing about it, and you would have to 180, aim down sights, and then shoot just to retaliate while they're gonna get a free shot at your back. Honestly, sometimes you just have to gamble it and you just have to stand there, ADS, and try to win the aim fight pretty much. Because I mean, honestly, if you run away, they're gonna know you're hurt and you're gonna get chased on anyway. So unless you have a good place to hide or a height advantage where you can walk back and heal, running away and healing is not a good tactic to use. Now, this is also bad due to the fact that you're not gonna be there to provide a gunfire for your teammates. If all your team is up and the enemy team is all up, then you're running away to heal. It's going to put your team at a major disadvantage. While you're healing, your other two teammates are going to be trying to win the gunfight, and with 2 guns instead of 3, it's just not going to work out, and you're going to lose that fight most of the time. So you want to make sure you're only healing when it's completely necessary and when you know you have the space to do so. Other than that, you just want to heal a little bit and get back to the fight. That way you can support your team and you can be there to provide cover fire or to just inflict enough damage to win the gunfight overall. And you have to let this know with your team. You know, you have to tell them about it, communicate with it, and it's just a bad habit, and obviously it's going to take time to break, just like the reloading thing that I still do on occasion. You just have to get into this mindset where not everything has to be perfect. You don't have to have full health, and also you don't have to have full ammo. You know, that's another habit that kind of fits into this. So just keep that in mind and try to grow from that. But yeah, guys, that's about it. Those are my 5 reasons why you keep on dying in Apex. These are all bad habits, and if you try to grow out of this, then you'll obviously see better results in your gameplay. I don't think there's any way that you're not going to see better results if you try to break these habits, so just keep that in mind and just keep working for it, and you'll just improve. As long as you have the motivation to improve, you will improve. But yeah, guys, that's it for me. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure to drop a like at the bottom, and make sure to hit that sub button if you haven't already. And also hit that notification bell, that way you won't miss any of my future videos and you can keep up with my content the second it comes out. But other than that, I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy, guys.
Oh my god, I got cherry picked so many times, bro.